Hi everyone, my name is Charlene and welcome to another nursing video. I hope you all are doing well and that you're staying safe and healthy. For today's video, I'm here to share with you my study tips, advice, and how I studied for the NCLEX and the resources that I used to help me pass the NCLEX. So if you're interested in that, please continue watching and let's get on into the video. So the first thing I did before even starting to study for the NCLEX was remove any distractions. I removed my main social media, especially Instagram. Instagram was like the main thing that I was always going on. Removed my social medias for a good 3 months, and that helped me a ton, not only to prevent me from getting distracted, but to also have a social media cleanse. So I really needed that. That's like probably the main thing that helped me. Though it was a little bit hard, there were times, I'm gonna be honest, where I did go on just to check, just to look really quick. Some other distractions that I had to remove were from my environment. I did not go to a coffee shop. I stayed at home because I felt comfortable. Whenever my parents were like out at work, I would wake up early and use the time that I have alone at home to study and just be in a quiet environment and not having the TV on. But this is what helped me also, having earplugs and headphones. My headphones and earplugs really helped me to stay focused and cancel out the outside noise. During the NCLEX, they'll provide you with headphones, and if you ask, you can get earbuds too. So during the exam, I felt comfortable because this is how I studied. I implemented this in my study routine. So I would put these earbuds and these headphones in without music playing, of course, and just treated it as if I were taking the NCLEX. Also, I bought a whiteboard. I bought just a simple, small whiteboard. I got it from Walmart. It was only like $150. During the NCLEX, they give you a whiteboard and a whiteboard marker, just in case you want to jot stuff down, or if you have like a math problem, you can use your whiteboard. But I did not use the whiteboard at all during the NCLEX. I didn't get any math questions or felt the need to brain dump anything. I just kind of went for it, but it was good to have in my study routine because I knew it was there just in case I needed it and I didn't have to scramble for like a piece of paper. Another thing, you're not allowed to chew gum during the NCLEX. In nursing school, whenever I took an exam or whenever I was studying, I chewed gum. It helped me stay calm, it helped me focus, but I studied without chewing gum. I just studied like I was taking the NCLEX. Now moving on to the main resources that I use to help me study for the NCLEX. And the main one that I used that I believed helped me pass the NCLEX was UWORLD. UWORLD. I love UWORLD. There are options to choose from, different packages, and the QBank that I got was the 90-day access and it is $199. It comes with 2,000 plus questions, as well as the 2 self-assessments. You're also able to go through the whole QBank once. You can reset the whole QBank and do it again and start fresh. But I didn't do that in this case. I just went through it once. And I also did the 2 assessments as well. I just wanted to be safe and make sure I had that ability to reset if I needed to. So with how I utilized UWorld, I took these subjects, so like adult health and child health, mental health, pharmacology, leadership management. So I categorized that based on my weaknesses and my strengths. I started off with my weaknesses first and left the ones that I knew I was strongest in towards the end, because you want to focus on what you don't know first. Computer's going to search for your weaknesses and trying to give you those questions to see if you're able to answer them. So for instance, like I was taking my NCLEX, I wasn't the best at pharmacology. It was giving me some pharmacology questions like, oh wow, okay, that's where it's trying to test me, probably to see if I'm still able to answer these questions right. So what I did was I took the subjects. And so for instance, let's start with adult health. I click on adult health and I'll show a screenshot.
This is how I make little mini practice tests. I start off by, for example, selecting adult health and pharmacology to have all those together. Then I hit a system. I chose the urinary and renal system, so I click that. And I have 60 questions available. So what I like to do is divide them evenly, so I'm doing little sections at a time, and hit 20 questions. So I'll have 3 sections to practice from.
And that's what I did for each section. I focused on each system, so doing all of endocrine together, all of musculoskeletal together, all of mental health together, and that helped me a lot to understand the concepts better rather than having them all mixed up. I know people who have done randomized because NCLEX is going to be randomized. You never know what you're going to get, and that's what helped them, but this is what helped me kind of build on the information and recall it much better. In regards to questions and how many I didn't do 75 questions at a time. I started off small. I started off with like 10 questions, built myself up to doing 25 questions, like 25 sections at a time. I found that I did 100 questions throughout the whole day. I didn't really feel like I did that much questions, but because I was doing it in smaller sections, made it seem less overwhelming, and it helped me a lot to grasp the information, remediate, and then do another set of questions again. And after each remediation, I would read the rationale through one question, read through it carefully, even if I got it wrong, and then write it in my notebook. Another thing that helped me a lot were sticky notes. I use a ton of sticky notes, and I would put them in my notebook. For instance, I would put all, like, say for example, contact precautions, and then I put some like little bullet points and just like little extra notes on the side for me to look at. For the last 2 weeks, so 2 weeks prior to taking my NCLEX, I decided to focus and use another resource, and another resource that I used was Mark Klimek. After my classmates and I graduated, I think it was 2 days after, we went to a Mark Klimek review for 3 days, 8-hour-long classes, and they go over tips and tricks on how to study the NCLEX. And with the class, it came with 2 books. It came with this yellow one, which was the one we used for lecture, and then it came with this one, which had content in it. So I didn't use this one as much because it was a little bit overwhelming. I would read it, but it wouldn't stick in my mind. So I focused on this yellow book. I did not remember everything from here, so I listened to Mark Klimek's audios and I followed along in this book to help me refresh. But yeah, I implemented this while I was doing questions. So the 2 weeks before my NCLEX, I went through this once. And now I move on to the 2 UWorld assessments. For the first one, I did it a week before my NCLEX, and then for the second assessment, I did it 2 days before my NCLEX. For these 2 assessments, I went to a local library, and they have a study section in the back of the library, and it's isolated and you have your own little room for yourself. So I studied in there and created it like I was taking the NCLEX. So again, I had my whiteboard, I had my headphones, my earbuds, put away my phone. Each assessment gives 100 questions and it also times you. So for the first one, it said a very high chance of passing. I felt a little bit of relief, but I didn't want to rely on those results. I still studied in between until I took the next assessment, got a very high chance of passing again, and again, I didn't want to rely on those results, but it did give me a little bit of comfort. Now we move on to the day before my NCLEX. I did relax here and there, but I did study. I did go over a few other notes. I went over my lab values, mnemonics from Mark Klimek, went through the rationales in my notebook, but most importantly, I went through all the sticky notes that I wrote in my notebook and went through those. Through each page, I would take off the sticky notes and just read through them, and I went throughout the whole notebook. For those who don't know, there have been changes to the NCLEX. If you go on the SCSBN website, there's things that have been changed to the NCLEX. The purpose of this is to ensure the social distancing and provide safety. So I took mine on March 6th. My computer stopped at 89 or 90 questions, and it took me around like 3 hours to do it. Haven't watched my video yet on my experience and my reaction. I can link it in the description below. So just some positive words of encouragement from me. Believe in yourself. Know that you can do this. You've went through nursing school. You've taken so many exams. You studied super hard. The things that I did that helped me throughout the whole studying process was praying. Praying helped me so much. I pray to God. You can pray to whichever higher power that you believe in. Just giving it all up to Him and having Him take away all my worries and fears, and just going into this exam believing that I studied the best that I can to the best of my ability, and that I know I'm going to be okay. Think of the overall picture of like, wow, I'm going to be a registered nurse. You got this, you can do this, you are going to pass, okay? You are going to pass, you are going to do great, and keep your head up, pray, do whatever it is you can, pamper yourself, keep pushing forward. But overall, that's pretty much what I did and how I studied for the NCLEX and passed it. But I hope this video helped. If you have any other questions, and if I didn't cover something in the video that you would like to see or hear, please leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.